Hi guys, I'm going to answer some of your questions today and talk about how you as a composer can create opportunities. Bit of a dark grey day today, so I've come out here in the garden. So the last episodes on the vlog were a two-parter. So since then, I was down in Lancing, which is near Worthing, and I went to meet Sompting Village Primary School Choir. They are the third of the three choirs who are going to be involved in the Worthing project. Really great sound that they were making, lots of enthusiasm, but also really high quality. And they wanted to say hi to the vlog, so here they are. Well, I'm here with Sompting Village Primary School Choir. Just heard your rehearsal. I was really impressed by how you guys sang. And are you looking forward to doing this piece with me?
Yes!
Excellent. And also the other day I was up in Snape, which is in Suffolk, to take a session with the Albury Young Musicians. So Albury Young Musicians is an organisation for school-aged musicians to come together. They do all kinds of different things, and on Saturday I was doing a composition workshop, which was huge fun. I was really impressed that in a day they managed to write and then perform themselves a concert of half an hour of music. Okay, now your questions. I need to get my phone for this, so stay here and I'll be right back. Okay, so first of all, Esteban from Costa Rica asked me, can you talk more about how you record your scores in future videos? Are they always live musicians? It sounds amazing. Oh, thanks Esteban, I really appreciate it. And yeah, sure, so they're not always live musicians. So what you hear in the vlog is a combination of some of the stuff is live, some of the stuff is done with samples. And I'll talk briefly a little bit about both. So the live stuff you hear, I usually say if it is live. So for example, in this video, all the orchestral stuff is the Worthing Philharmonic Orchestra playing. So in this video, you can hear the Beckenham Junior Choir singing my children's opera. I'm not a big music tech person actually, so if I record stuff, I keep it very simple. I've got a pair of Rode NT5 microphones. I'll put a link down below to all the stuff that I refer to in this video. I just plug that into a Tascam DR40, which is like a small portable digital recorder. It takes two XLR microphones, and that works perfectly fine. If this is getting all a bit techie, then I'm sorry. And then I bring it into the computer. I use Reaper, which is an amazing piece of software used by the BBC now and all sorts of other people, so it's a great alternative to Logic, Pro Tools, that sort of stuff. So that's how I do the live stuff. A lot of the stuff you hear in the vlog though is done with samples, and again I keep that very simple. I just write it in Sibelius and then I export the MIDI and put it into Reaper again, and I use a sample library. So I use the East-West Orchestral Gold sample library. Again, I'll put a link down below. It's a great library. It's recorded by really fantastic Hollywood musicians. Now, a lot of classical musicians are a bit snooty about samples. They think, oh, I wouldn't do that, I want to stick with live musicians. Well, obviously live musicians are never going to get replaced, but sample libraries are great for a few things. For the vlogs, for kind of mock-ups, for kind of promotional stuff. It's a little bit of an investment, that one, but if you're going to be using it a lot, then it's maybe worth investing in it. Or they also have a slightly cheaper, sort of simpler sample library, which has still, I think, got loads of great stuff. Now, samples can sound terrible, or they can sound really good, and a lot of it is how you use it. Now, there are people on YouTube who are much more expert than I am on using samples. If you'd like me to talk more about how to use samples, then I can do that if you like. Let me know in the comments again if you'd like me to do that. Okay, next question. So Laurent hit me up on Instagram. I hope that's how you pronounce it, Laurent. You're from Luxembourg, I understand, so I hope that's the right pronunciation, roughly. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, then do. I put a lot there about my composing life as well. You see a slightly different perspective from what you see on the vlogs. James Olsen music. Laurent asked me, you might want to do a vlog on how you find opportunities. Well, that's a really good question, Laurent. So I'm going to say three things about this. First of all, you've got to be proactive. You have to go and try and find the stuff yourself. And what I think is important to do as a composer is think of yourself not just as a composer, but like a writer, in the sense of a screenwriter will often come up with a concept for a film, yeah? And then it gets made, but you pitch it to other people. What I found as a composer is that musicians, organisations, they all really appreciate it when you come along and say, I'd like to do this. And then they can say no, but they can also say, oh yeah, well that's great, that fits in with what we're trying to do, and then maybe a project can come out of it. So the second thing is don't be fussy. I think a lot of people straight away want big performances by big professional orchestras, and they wonder how to get that. Well, you have to start with what you've got available to you. And when I decided to start composing when I was 15, I was really lucky that I just had a lot of friends in my local youth orchestra and at school who played musical instruments and sang in choirs and stuff. And it was great because I just wrote pieces for them and they played them in like little school concerts and stuff. stuff. And then when people play your music, you realise when things go wrong, you learn so much, you get to find out more about the instruments. So whatever opportunities you have, and if you don't know people, then look around, see who's in your area. Maybe there's a community orchestra, maybe there's a brass band or a church choir or bagpipe ensemble or whatever, I don't know. Just look around and ask them. So that fits in with the first thing. Be proactive and ask people who don't know, like, would you like a piece? And a lot of them might say no, maybe one of them will say yes, and then that's a performance potentially, and you keep going. And the third thing, this might upset some people, but do stuff for free. I honestly think it's the way forward in this business is to be able to do stuff for free. So I obviously didn't get paid for any of those pieces that I wrote for my friends at school. I still write pieces without getting paid. Now I do this for a living, and obviously I'm thinking a lot of the time about how it's going to work and how I can make it work financially. But doing stuff for free is a great route to paid work. I'll give you an example. The Worthing project has got quite a big budget because it's a big piece, and hopefully at the end I'll get a fee which is consummate with writing a 25-minute piece for 3 choirs and orchestra. However, I wrote a 5-minute piece for choir and orchestra, and I haven't been paid for that. And I wrote that just to get the project going, so we could launch the project. We have that big concert which you saw in the last 2 episodes. Now some people wouldn't be prepared to do that. They'd say, I want 50% up front and then 50% when I finish the piece. My approach is to be pragmatic and to say, well actually, I think if we write this piece and the choir and orchestra get to know me, and we have a great launch and we create some good content online and all that sort of stuff, it kicks the project off really nicely, and that will mean I'm more likely to get a fee at the end. But you have to use your imagination, and every project I do has a different approach to finance. If you've enjoyed this video, then please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell so you get notifications when there's a new video. I do a video about my composing life every Sunday night, so check out the next one and I will see you then.